You ever wake up one morning, look out across your land, and realize someone else has decided to claim it for themselves without asking, without warning? Yeah, that happened. And not to some city slicker, but to me, a rancher with boots so worn you could read the seasons in the creases. I'll tell you straight. When I first saw those metal signs hammered into my field, I almost laughed out loud, thinking maybe it was some dumb prank. Turns out it was the opening move in a game I didn't sign up for, a game with more at stake than property lines and higher stakes than any neighborly squabble. It started on the drive back from Moab, my truck bed loaded with parts for the baler. Sun was dropping low, painting the fields gold, and there they were. Steel posts set 50 yards apart, drilled into rock like they were planning to withstand a siege. Private HOA land. Trespassers will be prosecuted. 6 signs just along the north edge, uniform as soldiers daring me to argue. I kicked the nearest one, solid professional, not some flimsy hardware store job. Somebody had gone to real trouble for this. Name's Cody Shepard. I'm 45, ex-Army Corps of Engineers, so I know a thing or two about boundaries on a map and in real life. This ranch outside Monticello, Utah, it's been mine since the ink dried on the title, surveyed, double-checked, logged, and lived on. I know every rut and rock, every inch better than I know my own birthday. So when I see someone else laying claim, well, I take it personal. I photographed the signs, the tracks, even the bolts, and pulled one out for evidence. It was heavier than it looked, rebar, concrete, the works. I called John, my attorney. He answered on the second ring. You're not going to believe this, I said. HOAs staked their claim on my land. Silence. Then send pictures. I'll draft a cease and desist. That night I flew my drone. What I expected, maybe a dozen more stakes, turned out to be a full-on invasion. 37 signs ringing my property, not just the north, but bleeding into the east pasture too. It was systematic, like they'd been planning it for months. Next morning, a letter from Canyon Echo Ranch's HOA showed up, stamped and signed by a certain Karen Webley. Her name would become a 4-letter word soon enough. In accordance with land use reevaluation, your parcel is included in the preliminary expansion zone. You know what that really means? We want your land. Don't go anywhere. I'd seen HOAs pull stunts annexing land with paperwork and fines, but never like this. My property predated their whole development, but they decided to pencil me in one sign, one legal threat at a time. I didn't yell, didn't march over with a shotgun. I poured coffee, sat down with a notebook, and got to work. Military habits, logged every detail, every time, every drone shot. By dusk, I'd filed an official complaint, sent copies to John, and double-backed my evidence. Then I drove the perimeter and pulled up more signs, cataloging them like crime scene evidence. The next day, I walked into the county recorder's office in Monticello, asked for the latest boundary filings. Owen, the clerk, handed me a folder inside a glossy new map. Canyon Echo's boundaries bleeding out, swallowing half my ranch in gray. And get this, the approvals were signed by 2 owners of my land, both dead for over a decade. These signatures are fake, I told Owen. That's above my pay grade, sir, he muttered. But he let me copy everything. I made calls to John to Blake Holman, my go-to topographer. If there was a way to tear down this paper trail, Blake would find it. On the drive home, I saw a Canyon Echo billboard, a greener future for Utah's families. Used to make me smile. Now it just felt like a threat. When I got home, 2 more signs had appeared, brand new, not even dusty yet. That brought my count to 41. I spread every bit of evidence out in the workshop, photos, old deeds, maps, even the federal land patent from 1909 signed in black ink by the Secretary of the Interior, my great-grandfather's name right there. Let's see, an HOA try to rewrite that. That night, John called. This is more than HOA games, Cody. They're filing to override jurisdiction community integration petition. If it goes through, your land gets reclassified, maybe even absorbed into a public-private green zone. Rage like that doesn't come with shouting, just a cold focus. What do I do? I asked. Don't move the signs, document everything, and don't leave your land. Got it. I slept with one eye open, thermos ready for dawn. Blake showed up at First Light Drones GPS the works. We spent 10 hours mapping every inch, logging each HOA sign with coordinates and timestamp. When we finished, Blake just shook his head. They knew exactly what they were doing, old plat maps, elevation data. This is organized. They're not guessing, I said. They're acting like they already own it. Then, like clockwork, the HOA's enforcers showed up. 2 guys in polos, one with a clipboard, one with a body cam. You're destroying community markers, they said. I pulled out my certified survey, handed it over. Your signs are on my land. You're trespassing. They left mumbling about reports and vandalism. Not long after the sheriff's truck pulled in, Eric Sanford, old friend from high school. He whistled at the stack of signs neatly tagged and cataloged. You got proof? I handed him the deeds, the old land patent. He nodded slow. I remember when you bought this place, Cody. It's yours. Don't let anyone tell you different. That felt good, not gonna lie. The next day, another letter, a fake, supposedly from the San Juan Zoning Adjustment Liaison, demanding I vacate for an emergency survey. Only that office doesn't exist. I ran the metadata, traced it right back to the HOA's server. I took it to Marcia at the real zoning office. She raised an eyebrow, disappeared with the evidence, came back with her supervisor. This is a felony, he said. We're escalating. Good. But the HOA wasn't done. Now it was intimidation flyers around town. Who does this land belong to? The community or one man? With my ranch circled like I was hoarding gold. Karen's quote at the bottom. Restoring balance for future generations. You have to laugh. Right? I pulled every flyer I saw, then drove through Canyon Echo. Identical beige houses. Together we thrive banners, HOA, HQ, and a model home. I parked long enough to take a picture, then went home and made my own sign, private land, federally recorded, touch it again and meet my lawyer. But things escalated. Next came a deputy, young, nervous, trying to serve me a cease and desist. Badge was fake, paperwork was faker. I called the real sheriff, Dalton. He and Eric showed up fast, dead serious. You're telling me someone impersonated a deputy to serve HOA papers? Dalton asked. Exactly. The return address, Canyon Echo HOA. Dalton called it in, and within an hour, law enforcement was raiding the HOA office, walking out with computers, files, and one terrified intern. The news ran it by evening. HOA leader under investigation for fraud. Karen tried her best PR spin, but the story was already loose. Then the subpoena started. Prosecutors called me their primary witness, land fraud, forgery, impersonating law enforcement, even illegal surveillance. They'd planted a camera disguised as a birdhouse on my fence line. Nice try. State investigators showed up, combed through everything, drone footage, GPS logs, physical evidence. And suddenly I wasn't the only one. Other landowners started coming forward, moved fences, mysterious greenbelt notices, survey flags around their ponds. Turns out Canyon Echo had been running this play for years. The courthouse was standing room only for the hearing. Judge Angela Carrion, tough as old boots, presided. The prosecution laid out every fraud, every fake signature, even the dead one's misuse of federal funds, everything. Karen's lawyers argued bureaucratic overreach and harmonizing sustainability. The judge wasn't having it. I stood up, voice steady as stone. Your Honor, I've cleared these fields, grazed, cattle run, soil reports this land isn't unmaintained. The only thing unmaintained is the truth in this courtroom. The judge denied their motion, and the case turned. Final ruling, Canyon Echo HOA guilty on all counts. Criminal trespass, document fraud, attempted unlawful annexation, misuse of funds, harassment. Karen Webley, 12 years in state prison, no parole for 8. The HOA suspended assets, frozen, every illegal sign removed at their expense. My boundaries were locked in, federally recorded, end of story. I got $3.7 million in compensation. But the real prize, my land back in my hands, no strings, no threats. After the dust settled, we held a barbecue out by the old workshop. Ranchers, neighbors, even the sheriff and the prosecutor. Someone called it the barbecue of justice. I made a new sign, polished steel, private property begins here. If you disagree, take it to court. I win those. We took photos, hung one in the clerk's office under good news. That night I walked my fence line under the stars, just me, the cattle, and the quiet. The land was mine again. But don't think I forgot what it took to keep it. Now let me ask you, how far would you go to defend what's yours when someone comes for it with nothing but paperwork and a fake smile, ever tangled with an HOA, or fought for something nobody else believed in? Drop your story down below. Justice or overreach? Where do you draw the line? And if you ever find a shiny new sign on your land, remember, you've got a choice: roll over or fight back. I know which one I'd pick. I am